And I think that's where we met, right?
Yeah, like right after I got off the phone with you, I called my manager. I was telling him what was going on, and he's like, Jackie, don't call him back. And I was like, as I was pressing connect with LinkedIn.
I won't, don't worry.
Don't worry, I'm not going to do it. He doesn't know that I'm talking to you right now. Like, I considered telling him, but I was like, no, it'd just be weird. Hey, I just started a podcast with this random dude I met on the phone that I was supposed to pitch for this thing. And, you know, we're best friends now. Thank you.
Welcome to another week of dysfunction. Here's Jackie and Matt.
So I have ingested nothing drug-related at this point today. So you guys should be able to actually talk.
That sounds bad.
Dude, I don't remember anything about it, but I'm going to re-listen to it after today. So I am in for a shock, I think.
I'm ingesting an edible currently.
Ah. What kind? Did you make it? Is it what you...
I made it.
Yeah?
Yeah, I made hard candy, mango hard candy. But just to tell everyone, if you ever want to make a hard candy that tastes like mango, don't use mango flavoring. I think there has to be something else out there that tastes better, because this tastes like soap.
Maybe like a mango extract.
Yeah, it is a mango extract. I got it from Amazon. It was like a pack of just flavoring, but mango tastes like soap.
You know, there's like a third of the population, maybe even like half, who cilantro to them tastes specifically like soap.
Yeah, that's a genetic mutation.
I love cilantro. I don't get it.
I love cilantro.
I do too.
Yeah. I don't know what I would do if cilantro tasted like soap. I'd probably curse more. Wait, what? No. Backwards.
It probably wouldn't be an issue because you just never eat cilantro.
How do you know what soap tastes like?
Oh, I used to eat soap a lot.
We've all tried, haven't we?
My parents used to catch me eating soap a lot. I don't know why.
What's that called? Where you have
pita or pica?
Yeah, pica.
Yeah.
You have a craving for non-edible things.
Isn't
that really common for pregnant women?
Yep. I smelled, when I was pregnant, I smelled dryer sheets. I couldn't help myself.
Like
so I get those, like Febreze dryer sheets, or those little balls that you put in the dryer.
Oh, yeah.
I love them.
We used to
but I would sit in my room smelling them while I was pregnant.
That sounds good.
I feel like all pregnant women turn into weirdos.
It was so weird.
Nick, do you remember rolling those in the end of toilet paper rolls so we could like smoke weed through them, and we thought it wouldn't stick the room up with weed?
Wait, what?
I totally remember it. So we would put dryer sheets in like an empty toilet roll, and would convince ourselves that if we smoked in our rooms and blew it out of that, it wouldn't smell, which is
hit the pipes and then blow through a toilet paper roll filled with Febreze dryer sheets or any dryer sheets.
And in your mind, this was rational?
Oh yeah,
it's the time,
high already.
We probably weren't. I think we just were convinced that we're geniuses. This will work. We were dumb kids.
How old were you?
15,
16. I'm not sure. Actually, no. I would even stretch it out to maybe 17. Maybe.
Last week.
At least for one of us.
16, 17-year-olds nowadays are eating Tide Pods, so...
That's
I think
see, back in our day, things were safer.
Yeah, we were just
kids are still just being dumb kids. We just apparently didn't get to that degree of nonsense.
Idiocy.
Yeah, we weren't just like ingesting viscous chemicals.
Oh, we were. I called it crystal meth.
Which ones? I don't recall any.
Crystal meth.
So y'all would smoke in your room, like in your bedroom? Didn't your parents catch y'all?
Oh, I got caught a couple times.
I never did because my parents would smoke cigarettes in the house, and they couldn't smell a fucking thing.
Oh yeah, you had that going for you. I didn't. I just The first time I got caught, my mom didn't even call me out the same night. She just took my keys from me in the morning when I was asleep. So I just woke up and like didn't, and I was a 16-year-old kid. Wake up, couldn't find my phone or my keys, and I had to use the house phone to call her on her cell. And she's like, "Oh no, I found something in your room. We'll talk when I get home."
I hate that.
Damn.
Big goof. Jackie.
I don't mean to do that to you. Sometimes I just don't have time that second to talk to you. But that sucks. Like, what was their punishment for you, Nick?
It wasn't really that bad. They were both pretty down to earth about it, which was surprising coming from because I had divorced parents. So my father was far more laid back than my mom ever was. She was like very, very Christian, involved in the church. So for her, it was more of a, you're going to go to church more and not hang out with your friends as much thing. That was my punishment, but it lasted like a week and a half. And then I think she got tired of trying to enforce it. And then the second time I got caught, she just kind of yelled at me and it was over.
What was her reasoning to why you couldn't do it, though?
Smoke weed?
You know, what's funny is she never actually gave me a reason not to do it. And I think it might be because both of my parents they used drugs when they were younger as well. My dad probably still would if he didn't have the job he does. But I think her thing was and a lot of my upbringing would kind of revolve around my mom's, her church figure, I guess. So she always wanted to have this, you know, clean looking image with her children are all excelling in school and, you know, that kind of picture. But I wasn't I didn't necessarily give that to her. So there was that disappointment that she had to deal with.
Sounds like one of those moms prepping for the 20-year like reunion. Like,
that sucks.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Just like getting ready to go show off like how well she's done since.
Right. No, and I think a lot of it was exactly that. It was just, it's almost like she was the Instagram girl before Instagram was a thing.
Oh.
I love my mom. I'm not trying to like denigrate her at all, but like she was a manipulator and had like obviously this weird image that she tried to portray through her church and through her children. And we unfortunately didn't match all the criteria that she wanted us to.
But a lot of parents do that, is what I'm starting to notice. Like, now that I have a kid of my own, I'm starting to look at other parents and how they like live through their child and try to push what they want on their child, which is not only frustrating for the child, because they're going to grow up like you, not ever getting a reason why, just follow me blindly. I don't think that's right. I don't think anyone should follow anyone blindly.
I agree with you 100% because that was almost what repelled me from the whole religious circles that I mean, there were other things. It was a very, so I don't know. I don't want to like offend anybody, but this may be offensive to some, but it's one of those churches where people are getting knocked out by the Holy Spirit and speaking in tongues and just things. I'm sorry, what?
They do like the towel whips and people like fall backwards and they speak in tongues.
Yeah. So they'd all catch each other and pretend they were, maybe they were. I don't know. I don't want to, again, I'm not trying to pass judgment. I didn't buy any of it and I thought it was all nonsense.
Yeah.
So it was kind of participating in things like that also were repellent to me. And I'm like, I can't be a normal kid while trying to engage in this type of thing. So that was another part where, it's just the parents want you to be a certain thing, and it's like any kid's going to rebel, but I felt like I had a real good reason to be repellent to such things.
No, I get it. At that time, I rebelled, but only because my mom was strict, but I didn't rebel against our religion at that time because I was a Christian in my heart, and in my head, I was a Christian. And I believed in that blindly, obviously, just because it made my grandmother happy. So I thought if I wanted to make her happy, I had to do this and believe in this to make her happy. And that's all I cared about, was making my grandmother happy.
No, I think that things like that are very important to an adolescent of any sort. Like, regardless of your upbringing, you want to impress your elders, especially those close to you. And part of that was true for me and my mother and growing up in the church like I did, but it was also like this weird contrast between my father and I, where he never told me I was an atheist when I was young, or he was an atheist when he was young. Mm-hmm. He never tried to encourage that type of religious talk from me or activities from me. So it was a weird conflict between each parent telling me what I should know and should understand. And my father came off far more pragmatic and less manipulative. So I think I attracted to that more.
Okay. And your dad's an atheist, or what are you? Like, what do you believe in?
I'm an atheist. And it's not to say that I did, like you were at one point, like I had a devout belief and I really wanted to believe it, but it was more that I wanted to believe it. I wanted to make my mom happy, my grandma happy, and things like that. But it never truly like clicked in my heart. So it wasn't anything that it was like Santa Claus for me. I never actually believed in Santa Claus, but it was an idea that I still like, yeah, I'll humor it. So it took me it actually kind of screwed me up a little bit, I guess I'd say, in high school, having to face that I don't see the logic in it, but I want to believe in it. So it was a hard thing to wrestle with in an awkward time.
And Matt, like, what did you believe in? Like, how did you come to your spirituality or religion or whatever in your teenage years, Matt?
He just bailed. All right, now it's our show.
All right, cool, guys. Welcome to the Nick and Jackie show. He has been kicked out. He's been zooted out.
I'm here.
Did you hear the question?
No, I didn't, sadly.
Of course not. You did leave us. It's okay. Nick and I took over. It's our podcast now.
So here's our guest, Matt.
Well, enjoy it. You guys have fun. If you need help with the website, hit me up, though. You guys can handle the rest. It's not that hard.
Actually, no, that's not going to happen, Matt, because I know you have bad dreams of me leaving you. So that won't happen.
Yeah, I can't replace Matt either. I don't have that same personality.
Aww.
Yeah, no one can replace Matt in my life. Sorry.
No, I can't imagine anybody could replace him in my life either.
Aww.
Okay, Matt. I have a question. So what got you to your religion, spirituality in your teenage years or your important developmental years?
So, my mother was always a New York Catholic.
Why is New York different? A New York Catholic.
They're very.
I will say that there are different types of Catholic.
Very.
But
Oh,
that
really?
being said,
Very similar.
My
to New
grandmother
York.
was Irish Catholic.
Interesting. Okay, continue.
Very, very similar to a New York Jew, just with Catholicism. So it's twice the guilt and half the love. I'm kidding. Moms just shower their boys with love. The girls get nothing. And everything you could possibly think about doing is 100% wrong, innocent.
Wait, why do girls get nothing?
Because the dad is busy working, the moms shower the boys with compliments and love, and there's nobody left to give the girls any love.
That's fucked up. You know why? Because
Why?
then you teach these girls and your own daughter that this is how it's supposed to be, and it's not. That's not fair.
Correct.
You wouldn't be in life if it wasn't for a woman to bring you and bury you for those 9-10 fucking months.
Yeah, that's why you're supposed to love your mother and only your mother. No other woman should ever be able to compete with her, and that's why the dating aspect is so fucked up for people. I think raised in the
No, I agree 100%. No,
all they're doing is comparing women to their mother.
Well, I wouldn't call it Freudian like that, but
no. Grayson's mom and I are exactly the same, and I recognize this, and I don't like her because she has all the characteristics I don't like about myself. Well, I do like her. She's cool.
That's interesting that you can recognize that.
Oh, yeah. Dude, if you just met her, you'd be like, oh, my God, that's Jackie. Older.
So like my anti-reincarnation.
I guess so. She annoys me most of the time.
What is she? Oh, man. So you guys get along, though? You're cordial.
Oh, yeah. No, we get along. But there are certain topics that we argue about a lot. And then she's also in sales. So she's in the sales marketing, but she went into the housing and developmental and remodels and that kind of area. And I was doing that for a year with her in my life. And when I talk about work, it was just something else. And then anytime I bring up sales, like I'm not to toot my own horn, but I've always been the top performer in any sales or marketing job I've ever been in, and she is too. But then she likes to compare herself to me all the time, and it's so annoying.
She's got 20 years on you. She's not allowed to compare herself to you. That'd be like me comparing to a 6-year-old. I'm like,
no,
hey, I beat you at Mario Kart, you little shit.
But she could actually, like, she would get angry at me because where I am now is better than where she was at my age at that time. So it's like, she gets frustrated, I get frustrated. It's just, but I love her so much.
Good reason to butt heads, I suppose, though. Like, at least she has, you know, that extra wisdom that you maybe don't. I'm not trying to take anything away from your life experience, but she's obviously had the benefit of those extra decades in life. So her kind of calling you out on those things is, I think, a kind of a badge of honor, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I agree. But it's just, it gets under your skin, you know?
Yeah.
I can see that.
And I tell her, I'm like, hey, you're annoying me right now. She's like, why? Why am I annoying you, Jackie? And then she'll come up to me and poke me on my arm.
Oh.
I'm like, stop.
Oh, she's an instigator.
Oh, yes, she is.
Don't touch people.
In fairness, you sound like you're a bit of an instigator in like a very tactical way.
I think
yes.
she's more of a passive-aggressive instigator from what I can tell.
But I'd argue that it's not so much passive-aggressive. It's actually well thought out and delivered in it's more direct. It's not passive-aggressive when it's just, hey, this is what I want the answer to.
Right.
Oh, yeah, I do that a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, continue, Matt.
I think it's a great quality.
So,
thanks.
Essentially, I was forced to go to church starting at age, I can't even remember. I would say probably 2 or 3. Went to a Catholic church. All the way up through. Well, my dad always played piano at the Catholic church, whatever the closest one was. So, you know, just to make like some extra money every weekend. So he would play at the Catholic.
You get paid?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. And we would go watch whatever mass was going, or at least one of the masses that he was playing at, or at which he was playing, for those grammar Nazis out there. And so we would end up going to at least one mass every week until, then we did First Communion, First Confession, and then as soon as we did Confirmation, which was at 16, my mom said, okay, now it's up to you. You can decide whether or not you want to go to church anymore.
Oh, that's nice. So you had a choice.
And I said, goodbye. I will never, ever step foot in another church.
So is that the point where you became a non-believer in religion?
I was a non-believer at around age 13 or 12. It was right around when I, at a very late age, stopped believing in Santa Claus. Was when I stopped believing.
Wait, you stopped believing in Santa Claus at 13?
No, I think I was 11 or 12 though.
That's so bad.
I don't see why that's funny.
Because my sister was 4. My 8-year-old sister now, she was 4 when she figured it out. That's why. And my grandmother told me, yeah, no, Santa Claus is not real. Jesus just gives your mom money to buy you gifts.
The sad part is he had probably already like mastered algebra and trigonometry, but he still believed in Santa Claus.
Well, actually, you want to hear the funniest part? Because it was the same lunch. It was one of those days at Shumway where we got to eat.
Oh no!
We got to eat outdoors, right? So we had like a barbecue. We're eating lunch outside. I learned, and within the span of 5 minutes, I learned Santa was not real. I learned the Easter Bunny and the Tooth Fairy were not real.
Okay.
I put together that Jesus was not real, and I learned what a 69 was. And
oh my God, no!
All in under 5 minutes while eating a hamburger outside in like 6th grade.
But you already did not believe in God?
That's when
you're like way out of order with these things.
No. I pieced the God thing together when I found out Santa Claus wasn't real. I'm like, oh well, if he's not real, God's not real.
Well, I don't. Okay, the Easter Bunny.
Fictional character.
I never even knew what an Easter Bunny was until like. I want to say 4 years ago. 4 years ago was the first time I ever heard that there was such thing as an Easter Bunny. My parents never brought that up. Like ever.
Oh,
Jill,
geez.
I feel like it's such a ubiquitous thing around the holiday. How did you not know about an Easter bunny?
I didn't. I just didn't. I just assumed everyone got bunnies in their basket. My mom would make us a beautiful basket every Easter. And like, I enjoyed Easter. I got candy and eggs, and sometimes we would play a second Easter egg hunt inside the house and put little lights in them. But I never knew that a bunny shit. Like, from what I understand, is a bunny shits the candy bowls and leaves it there, and that's what I understand an Easter bunny does.
Yeah,
I may be
They
wrong.
never explain it, so you might be right.
Eats shoes, shits candy. I remember. No, I get what she's saying. She had the whole religion, like all the staples. She just didn't know that there was one like particular bunny that like ran the whole operation, like a mob
sounds
of
retarded.
the Easter bunnies, if you will.
What a weird thing for them to do, too. Like, right? They're supposed to be celebrating the fact that Jesus died and rose again. But they're like, you know what? We need a bunny. That'll really spice this Easter thing up. Eggs. We got any eggs? Because bunny and eggs always go together.
Dude, Pete Holmes does a good bit on that. I think maybe. I don't know. It doesn't matter.
That'd be creepy as shit, though, not gonna lie, because I've seen those bunny with the red eyes. Imagine a red-eyed bunny was coming to your house in the middle of the night, shitting eggs all over your house, and just like you're supposed to wake up and eat all that shit candy.
Right before he leaves, he knocks on your window. He's like, "Hey Matt," and I wake up. I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "I left you some chocolate on the kitchen table."
Oh, it's Frank the bunny from Donnie Darko.
I'm a vegetarian, so it will taste quite nice.
I made ants on a log. It's celery sticks with peanut butter and maybe raisins, maybe not. You'll have to find out yourself.
Oh,
Good luck.
bunny scat.
Damn, that's awful.
So you just decided not to believe in anything at that point once you figured out what sex was and...
No.
Nihilist in junior high.
That happened to be the same day, but it was pretty much one of the kids goes, "Matt, you know Santa's not real, right? It's your parents. They're putting everything under the tree." And I'm like, "Wait, what?" I'm like, "Oh shit, that makes sense." So then the Easter bunny, and he was like, "Yeah, not real." I'm like, "Tooth fairy?" And he's like, "Not real." And I'm
I
like,
believed in the tooth fairy till I was 13. I
"Hey,
cried.
that's not that different." I mean, it's a little different. But then, I mean, I just kept listening down the list until I was like, "But Jesus?" And the kid was like, "Oh no, he's real." And I'm like, nah, I don't think so. I don't understand how all of these with the same exact like story, and I don't know. It all just seemed like my parents at one point, and I was just like, "Oh, okay, so it must all be my parents." And then finding out about 69 just happened to be like another event that happened during that same lunch period. It's so unfortunate. It was actually I grew up a lot in one hour.
I think that's just what school does to kids.
Oh my god! Especially school.
At least public school.
Yeah, I think I wrote. Yeah, our class wrote the theme song for that school. I wonder if they still use it.
Look it up.
Yeah, I'm gonna. It's not even called the school anymore.
What do y'all think about the Bible in general? Like, what is the Bible, the book, to you?
Who are you asking?
Both.
Nick, why don't
Whoever
you?
wants to answer.
I think it's a work of fiction mostly.
Okay.
It's,
Mostly.
There is and I mean, it depends which one we're talking about. I have different opinions on New Testament versus Old Testament, or if we're going to the Torah, or even expanding on that. But for the most part, I would argue that this is fabricated information, but it was almost a gonzo journalism type of thing to do at the time, where they heard some stories, they tried to bend it in whatever direction they thought best, and used it as, I don't even want to call it like a control thing at that point in time. It was just if you want to think about it, what they had, what their means were to actually communicate such things, it was mostly word of mouth. There weren't a whole lot of people transcribing a lot. So there's literally no contemporary writings of Jesus. They don't exist. But there are texts from 300 years before him that are contemporary writings of other figures. So I think it's really naive to assume that the Bible is is literal. And even if you take it figuratively, you need to think of it more as Aesop's fables, not a guide to actual religious purity or understanding. And that's my take on it. I'm not trying to, again, denigrate anybody else's beliefs. That's just where I stand in what I understand of it.
And again, to everybody, any country music fans out there, denigrate means put it down.
Stop. That's so bad, Matt.
See, I was trying to not be offensive, but when you take it to that level, it's in good fun, though.
So what do you think about the Bible, Matt?
I think, okay, well, if we're talking about the one I'm familiar with, the one that I have not read, but gotten through most of one, which would be the King James, whatever, Catholic Bible, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that God is short for things we don't understand or have explanations for yet. So, I think that it was used as a way to keep people being good back when we didn't quite have the technology, information, or I guess like power to keep people under control. And it was also a way of explaining the unexplainable. Like, because right now, really, all we have left that we can't really explain is death. I mean, that's like in dreaming, kind of. Back then, I mean, we didn't even know like why the sun was coming up in the morning. So it was like, oh, it must be something. Because if you didn't have a reason for that, I mean, wouldn't you kind of go like crazy if you didn't have a reason for why anything was happening like on a consistent basis every day?
Yeah, human condition is wanting to know. It's a striving for understanding.
So I think, yeah, thank you, Nick. I think the point of it originally was to answer the why. And unfortunately, that got ugly and morphed into more of a let's keep these people under control, which then got morphed into, oh, well, let's take those people and put them under the same control. And it just got worse and worse. But I think originally it had good intentions, and it was supposed to just keep people happy and give them a reason to be happy and, like, get up in the morning. You know, like, we have a purpose. We're here for a reason, you know. I think that was the original purpose of it, and I think it's just been bastardized since then. And it hasn't been unbastardized yet, even though we now have most of those answers.
No, it's been weaponized now.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly what I mean. But I mean, you know, with things like the Book of Mormon, like, and L. Ron Hubbard's, what is it? The Great Volcano Monster? Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Sea Org and, yes, it's too much new stuff. I think we need to go back and maybe address some of the old stuff and be like, all right, like, can we actually go back and document like the years and the actual authors of any of this?
So my opinion of the Bible, and I agree with both of y'all on some things,
Right.
is I think it started as stories of like observation of other people around them and
Like
what the outcome was. And
stories, fables, or more like
stories as in like some history and then some twisted idea that came into it. Like Cinderella, or I don't know. Yeah, Cinderella seems like a normal storyline to start with.
If I may interject, so like literally the Bible stole the Epic of Gilgamesh to write the story of Moses. They're almost identical stories.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But the Epic of Gilgamesh was written 500 years before the Old Testament.
Exactly. I think they're like interpretations of a story that being brought down into family to family to family, finally written down. Mm-hmm. And then they were to tell you or guide you in a certain way, not to tell you what to do. And then men came along and be like, hey, this is what it says to do, so you need to do this because you need to follow it because that's what I said and that's what God told me, as like a way of controlling people.
So do you think that maybe it's just certain people actually, rather than using these stories as anecdotal, you know, kind of things on life, on how you should respond to certain situations, do you think people of power actually weaponized it back then and intentionally used it to control the masses?
Yes. I think
No, I don't think that's false at all. I think you're right. I just wondered to what extent they were capable of at that time.
everyone at some point wanted control over something, or they thought something was theirs. When you put someone and say, hey, this is your toy,
Your birthright.
you can control it. What if that toy became its own self or could make a decision on their own? Then that person gets jealous and wants to control it again because it's their toy. It's the same thing. Someone in power sees us and be like, hey, we can make our own decisions, but they don't want that, so they gave us something to follow that backs up why they wanted them to do a certain thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So if I may, the way I'm translating it is you're saying that they have this level of self-entitlement to where they're like, no, this is what I believe and everybody else should be on board. And if they aren't, then if you don't subscribe to my beliefs, then you're part of the enemy, and therefore this community is what's right. Everything else is incorrect.
I had a different understanding, but that's very interesting.
What did you understand, Matt?
That it wasn't like that everybody needs to have this belief system because I have it and I think it's what's right. I thought you were saying more of like, I want you all to have this belief system because if I can get you all to believe in this structure, you're all easily manipulable. You're all easily controllable, and I can get you to believe, and donate cash, goods, time, service to whatever need be.
Yes to both. I think I meant exactly what y'all both interpreted from what I said. I think they're just explain myself.
So interesting.
I think they're both steps in a bigger picture. I think both that was
Nick,
probably more.
Sorry, go for it.
Sorry, no, continue.
Have you seen the Book of Eli?
I have.
Okay. I think, despite it being moderately rated, and I think this is brought up like 2 episodes ago, maybe with Danny or something. Really, really fucking good movie. I don't know, you probably didn't like it as much, but I just thought it was great that the whole movie they spent searching for a book that can control the entire civilization, and it turns out the book is just the Bible.
See, I dislike the movie because right at the beginning I was like, if this turns out to be the Bible, I'd be so upset.
You are really good at calling those things. Though. You called like 3 Black Mirrors before they finished.
I mean, well, it's just I read a lot of sci-fi, so maybe it's
Anyway.
But
there was one thing that while we're still on the religious thing, your last episode I listened to actually just today, and you guys were discussing the older religions, and part of me was like yelling in to my living room while I was listening.
You weren't bringing up like the fundamental, what I would consider the fundamental like origins of religion, and it's Göbekli Tepe. I don't know how you actually pronounce it, but it's a 12,000-year-old site that they've found animism pictures. But it's thought of as one of the first places that people became sedentary, where they all gathered in this one place, even though they were still hunter-gatherers. They were constantly moving with the seasons. This is what started religion in essence, where people actually stopped to worship, if you will. But they had deities. They had things to actually try and explain their worlds, and nobody brought it up. So I just wanted to consider that as I think that is the fruition of religion. Like things like that is what causes other people to make other philosophical ideas and then speak it to others, and it becomes your religion, I guess, if you really want to put it blandly, as I did. But
so, are you saying is this your I don't want to say response, but this is your comment to when we were trying to say well, when did this organized religion thing start? And we kind of mentioned maybe the Egyptians or possibly the Greeks or possibly and are you talking about right around that part of the show?
Right. And I just wanted to take it a step further where, I mean, 12,000 years ago, there were obviously these pretty large structures considering their capabilities at the time. And they were dedicating so much effort, revisiting yearly, and there's evidence of all of that. So I think it's worth putting that out there just to say, religion didn't start because somebody decided there was one god or multiple gods. They literally were painting leopards and
well, wait a minute.
Animism was probably more of a prevalent worship than any current modern religion.
I was talking to my sister, who is a creationist Christian. She says the Earth is only 6,000 years old. So how do you account for the other 6,000 years, Nicholas? Huh?
The other 6,000 years, yeah, because there's only that all started then, 12,000 years ago.
Okay, so just for anyone else that doesn't understand what animism is a belief that objects, places, and creatures all possess a distinct spiritual essence, potentially now I can't say the word. Animism perceives all things, animals, plants, rocks, rivers, weather system, human handwork, and perhaps even words as animated and alive. Interesting. Is that what you're speaking about?
No, that's exactly what I'm saying. Is I believe that was the fruition of what created modern religion. And I know it's had like a wild evolution through thousands of years, but it's if that weren't to happen, I don't know what civilization would look like anymore, because if people never got sedentary, if they never actually decided to congregate, what would we just be? Nothing but a world of tribal like warfare, or maybe better than that, but still these weird segregated cultures that aren't interconnected? Because I think religion really did bring massive amounts of people, and unfortunately in a lot of bloody ways later on in history.
Oh yeah, definitely. Animism is really pretty, actually. Like, the idea of it is beautiful.
I would be more likely to subscribe to that type of belief than any modern religious concepts.
Why? Why that? Why animism and not any other spiritual or religious concept that's going on currently?
And that's probably just personal experience. So I grew up doing a lot of backpacking, a lot of, just staying out in the wilderness for weeks at a time, not, no cell phones, no technology. We're out there filtering our own water. And those moments are intoxicating sometimes. Like, you get to wake up and see some gorgeous landscape. And there is, and I'm not a spiritual person by any means, but there is some level of communication between a person and their environment. And it's, like I said, it's inebriating to a point. You get out there and it's a thrill. It's better than like any other high you can get from a drug, I think. And so that's, I guess, the part of me that I would level on that rather than subscribing to Christianity, Buddhism, or any other popular 5 religions that we have.
Okay. So I know in Danny's episode, or someone's episode, I don't remember, we were talking about the awakening, or everyone's talking about we going into a 5D world and being awakened spiritually. What do you think about that? And
I don't understand it. Like, on a personal level, I just don't, it doesn't make any logical sense to me. So I don't know that I have a lot to say on that, because I don't interpret it, I think, in the same way that others do. So to me, it kind of sounds like, and I want to put this politely, but it sounds to me like some, like, Gwyneth Paltrow goop type stuff. Like, that's unhealthy. Don't think that way.
Yeah.
And I don't, like, again, I don't want to insult anybody, but like, I don't have any logical means to land in that spot.
Okay. And have you ever studied like the different dimensions or the mathematics behind dimensions, like in a physical form or anything like that? And the different phases?
I mean, to an extent. I'm not a physicist by any means, but and actually the math, from what I understand, does work out that there are higher dimensions, and potentially if you were to experience the 4th dimension, you could play with time, go back and forth. And there's not a only to what I know, and I know I read a lot of like geeky books and stuff, so
I could tell.
I wouldn't ever put that type of thinking just in a drawer and put it away as if like not plausible. I think it's very intriguing, and it also, what's more exciting to me is it brings up a philosophical conversation where, okay, say that does exist. Like, a whole thought experiment about it is just a whole new plane of non-reality that we can explore, but potentially is reality. We just haven't understood it yet.
Okay. So for someone that, like you, who thinks very factual, what a 5D world is, how they explain it, is just another in between. How do I explain this to someone? It's not us actually jumping into a dimension. It's like the world expanding in a way. I don't know if you keep up with the current science of space currently, but we move at a very fast rate through space, and we're always expanding. Like, our solar system is continuously expanding. So their idea is like, we're going to transition from a 3D world, as in these ideas of physical form, thoughts, and ideas, into a 5D, which is like deep compassion for living things, or understanding other living things, being spiritual and love for other people. But that's just like what we would feel in a 5D world, if that makes sense. I don't know what will happen physically to space, or I don't know any of that, but that's just the idea that's being passed around right now.
But like, where did that idea come from? I don't understand. Like, I get, yes, the universe is expanding at an exponential rate. Like, eventually, like, the light won't reach certain planets from where we are, because that planet is vaulting in a different direction, expanding with the universe so quickly that light can't even catch up to it.
Yeah.
So like, I can, have a relative understanding of those types of things. I just don't, like, when you say things like that, where does that come from? Where are people coming to that conclusion?
The first time I heard it, I was actually in middle school. I've always been really fascinated with space and science and how things work. Probably because I'm crazy, but
no, that's awesome.
I studied like all these mathematics on string theory and dimensions and all this kind of things. And I was only in 6th or 7th grade. So not that I understood all of it, but the first time I came across it was, it started on the mathematics on a 3D, 4D, 5D plane, and how some people can see it. These are the people that we often talk about that can see color, see light. I forgot what it's called, and Matt always reminds me what it's called. But then I started researching a lot more, and then I started seeing people that were mentioning, oh, this is what it's supposed to be. And then aliens came into the mix. That's when I was like, all right, guys, I'm checking out of this. And then now it's resurfacing again because the CIA had dropped something about meditation. And on that meditation document that they let go live, I don't know how to explain it, published to the world, it kind of described some of the 5D world ideas, and then someone wrote a book about it, and then this book started going crazy, and now a lot of people are like, oh, I'm coming to my awakening. But what it really means is like, oh, I'm loving and understanding things, living things that's higher.
But so again, like, I just don't, what do you, like, what's the difference between me loving things and being compassionate and wanting the best for, my life and the people around me versus this 5D breakthrough? I guess I don't get it. I feel like it's an emotional thing, not a
yeah, it starts as an emotional thing, and then it goes into, from what I understand, not that I'm an expert or anything, it goes into you recognizing that you are a viewer of your thoughts, that there are other things helping you and guiding you through this timeline. And then it starts going into like reincarnation and spirit guides and all this other things. But it starts as compassion, and then it goes into you realizing that the thoughts you have aren't yours.
So you start as an objective viewer of yourself?
I guess.
Rather than a subjective viewer? I don't...
Like when you're thinking, is it your thoughts? Is it your voice?
I mean, yeah, that's the way... I think it's, I have that internal dialogue, that voice I hear in my head. I know not everybody has that. Some people think differently.
Do you do verbal or visual?
I'm mostly verbal.
Okay. So when you're having thoughts, do you have other thoughts that contradict itself? Like, for example, you're about to do something that quite isn't right or is right, but then you see other perspectives or other thoughts that have to do with what you're doing.
No, I think almost anybody that just has empathy would experience that, though, because you can't, if you want to do something but you also are conscious of others, you're obviously going to try and take a more objective view of it rather than this is what I want, so I'm going to do it. I think it just that's more of a personality thing in my mind.
Maybe that wasn't the right like when I'm driving and I'm thinking back at a conversation I've had with Matt, if in the moment I'm not paying attention to my thoughts, I kind of forget or disregard what his opinion is or what he might be thinking at that time. But while I'm driving or when I'm thinking back to that memory or that conversation, I'll have multiple thoughts on what he thought, what he was feeling at that time, what someone else, like my husband, would be feeling and thinking at that time, and what I thought at that time. But they all come in all at once.
Yes.
And they don't feel like mine.
Yes, I can understand that better. No, absolutely. I've certainly had those situations. And that's, retrospective thought, retrospective introspection, if you will.
Retrospection. I'm back. Sorry about that, but I now have my camera. So we could go to voice comms, or I could just send you guys a video of me dancing to the Cisco song. Whatever.
Please send that to me.
I will send
I'll watch.
For sure. Is there a chance you'll put it on TikTok?
Yes.
Okay.
Most likely. It depends. If you look bad, I won't do it. But if you look funny and cool, I'll do it.
He's going to look funny and cool, okay, Jackie?
You know who we need video dancing? Nick. Nick is an amazing dancer.
Oh, really? What can you dance to?
I don't know why he said that, because I'm not a dancer at all. I hate dancing.
I love to dance. I got excited there.
I enjoy dancing, but like in absolute privacy. Just like I enjoy my singing. I'll sing, but I don't like to do it unless I'm in front of people that I'm very comfortable with.
Nick has this one move where what he does is he shakes his finger to like no at you, like his index finger, like no.
Oh, the white boy dance.
Hold on.
From the 30s, the finger and the...
That's where it's all the worst things that you can do in a dance, and I just try and compile them all together. So that way when somebody asks me to dance, they're like, oh, never mind.
He removes his fake face like from Mission Impossible. So like he turns that around, pulls his whole fake plastic face off, turns it around, and then throws it at you. That's his whole dance.
So what I'm hearing is
like a no, here's my face,
So what I'm hearing is when I come to visit, I will be dancing with both of y'all.
Oh, you will not be dancing with me.
Yes, it's gonna happen. I'm taking y'all out to go dancing.
What do you dance?
I'll do it. That's fine.
I'll go. But what?
I love salsa dancing and bachata and a lot of Spanish hip hop, reggaeton, and
you're in the right area for that. We can go to El Zocalo.
Yeah, we got a lot of that around here.
Awesome. Then that's perfect.
A lot of that around here. Hey Nick, have you been to a Meow Wolf yet or heard of it?
What?
Excuse me?
Meow Wolf. Apropos to nothing.
No.
I don't even know what that is.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what that is. We were talking about going there. It's an easy name to forget exactly what it is. It's the museum that George R.R. Martin did. It's like you walk into this house. It's like a house like in the middle of Albuquerque. And then in the house, like if you open like the dryer, it's like a portal to like another dimension, and you like slide down the dryer, and all of a sudden you're in this weird museum that tells this like story. It's in like a non-linear story. So depending on like what path you take through the maze after that is like what story you get to experience.
That's what I want to do.
Choose your own story.
Yes.
Yeah.
Done as an art museum.
I want to do that as a fashion show though. Like have a fashion show in one of those museums to tell the story depending on the clothing or the style that you like.
That sounds like an awesome idea.
I would even entertain that. Like,
I'm not a fashion person, but yeah, like I'd watch that.
Weird.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Cool. Because I've thought about this for the last 2 years, and I'm determined to make this happen.
Why do I have freaking good ideas all the time? Also, I've been doing some math, Jackie. Okay, right?
All right. Got it.
I know. Careful. And watch my head. It'll hurt. Okay. So I have you at one. You did this for 1 year. You did that for 1 year. You did that for 1 year. That for 1 year. You've done that for 2 years. You ran that for 2 years. You did that for 2 years. And that for 1 year. So,
what are you talking about?
By my calculations, you are 72 years old?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm actually 72, guys. I'm old as hell, sitting in my nursery, not a nursery home. What are they called?
You sound great for being 72 and having a young baby and
Oh yeah, that's
a
how
young
old I am.
husband.
Artemis is actually her nurse.
The one I had to
Now
put
I'm
to bed.
thinking you like live in a castle and Artemis is just like some little baby sitting in this awesome stroller, but has still like a staff with a
I
giant
love
gem
her
on top of it.
stroller. Her stroller is amazing, and she does have a small jungle gym inside the house.
I love that she now gets excited when she hears my voice sometimes. I don't know if it's my voice.
She loves you. She doesn't understand who you are, but every time she hears you, she's like, "Hi." It's so cute.
Oh, that's cute.
It really is cute. Oh, man.
How old is she now?
I hate feelings.
A year and 2 months.
Oh,
1
wow.
month. A year and
Oh,
1
so
month.
is she moving around on you a lot?
Oh yeah, she runs. She's been running since 8 months old.
Ooh, just looking for a light socket to lick?
Peace, bitch.
Luckily, she's not that stupid, but
Sorry,
she's-
I just like to joke about kids.
no, I understand. There's a lot of dumb ones out there. Like
Yeah.
Grace and I called the window lickers the bottom half of the
I'm gonna use that.
children. My husband's cruel, but she is very smart, which is very frustrating because we do have socket covers. But she learned that if she put the cord, the one that goes into the wall, if she puts it between that socket cover, she could pull it out. And then she puts the socket cover in her mouth. Yeah, that's just what she does.
Is she
And
getting to the age where she's trying to manipulate you guys or get a reaction from you?
Oh,
She was already doing that in the beginning where she would fake cough because she thought it was hilarious. But we are, like, her snacks are out, so she could pick whatever snack she wants. So it's not like a big issue unless she wants these strawberry sticks, like these strawberry circled waffle sticks. She will cry for 30 whole minutes for these fucking things. So I leave 2 out for her, and that's it. That's all she can have. And I hide the rest.
Yeah, gotta moderate, but yeah, it sounds like you're gonna have your hands full for a while.
oh, probably going to be a lady killer or a male killer, whatever the opposite of that is.
Either way,
Yeah.
whichever direction she goes.
Oh, and she brings these animal, like, so at school they have these animal figurines. Every single day I found one in her car seat. She'll hide it from her teacher so she could bring it home. And I'm like, you're already stealing. Good job. No, just kidding.
Hey, some kids are way underestimated. Like a lot of people have this general thought about children, like, they're this age, they don't know this much. Some kids are way smarter than most people give them
Oh,
credit
she
for.
knows.
So,
Oh,
yeah,
She knows.
there's a level of understanding that I think a lot of adults don't lend to
part of
children.
the arrangements. And pull up Tom gets about stealing.
Okay.
Oh, never mind. I thought you would know that one.
Showstack has ulterior motives, so.
I was just talking about stealing from work and stealing from school.
You're kind of sounding far away, bud.
Yeah,
I am.
probably is.
My
Well, before Matt interrupted us, what were we talking about?
God. Interrupted. Nice try.
Oh boy.
I just said
Feels
that
like a
word
long
to
time
bother
ago.
him.
It
I
worked.
don't know where we left off.
Your
was
voice
some-
is in your head.
So yeah, I'm more of I have that internal dialogue in my head that runs through clearly, like almost like I'm discussing something with myself.
Okay. So, in my head, it used to be my own voice. Like, it used to be the voice I thought I had. Now that I've been learning a lot more, which sounds crazy, and I probably am crazy, it's distinctly other people's voices, but it all feels like ideas that I came up with, even though it wasn't, but it helps me throughout the day. Like, I'll be driving in the car, and I'm in the car. I'm in the car a lot. That's where I think the most, because I don't distract myself with sound or anything like that. And I will be thinking about one thing, but then I'll get multiple perspectives all at once. and then I'll understand them all at once, and it happens within seconds. Does that make sense?
No, I think that makes a lot of sense. You're analytical. That's so that's probably something that wasn't necessarily inherent. It wasn't something you always had, but you reached an understanding where now you have a more, I feel like I'm saying this a lot, but a more objective view. You're seeing it from other perspectives. And I agree that I have that. I think we experience it maybe differently, though. I don't have, and I think sometimes I drive my girlfriend nuts because I have those aspects where she'll ask me a question and I'm like, well, here's the 7 answers I can provide. And she's looking for one.
Yeah. I would appreciate that because I need that. But I don't do that because my husband would probably get annoyed by me.
No, she totally gets annoyed. And I also ask those probing questions where I'm like, well, are you asking this or are you really trying to get to these things? So but I think that maybe you're in the same aspect. You analyze things in a more almost clinical way. That's definitely. Probably, yeah. But you try and build every scenario that you can possibly interact with, right?
Yeah. So that idea that we're talking about right now is what the people who are saying they're being awakened, or that awareness is part of the 5D world. Recognizing all the voices you have in your head aren't quite yours, and that you are overviewing or objectively seeing everything and making your own decision or thought in that moment, but they're your spirit guides it away. I know that sounds retarded, but yeah,
it's not retarded at all.
I think I see it more as a philosophical enlightenment that you have a great process of critical thinking. You can run situations through your head and quickly analyze them and kind of extract data, theoretical data that you made up yourself, but it actually works in real life situations. So that's, I think, what I perceive that as opposed to some, 5D world.
Okay. And you don't think everything that you're thinking, that it's impossible to have those thoughts without having something to back it up, or a story, or like life situations?
I think you need to have a fundamental understanding of how people respond, how certain situations often occur. So yeah, I don't think it's an inherent knowledge that people have. It is a learned behavior and a learned method of thinking. It's not, you can't expect your average 10-year-old to analyze situations like that. Some will. Some are exceptional, but most of them are just going to kind of look at you funny and ask what you're talking about because they have their one experience that they can base it off of. So there's not this, with that experience, you can't expand on your knowledge. I just, like, as many books as you read about interacting with people, you don't know how people act until you interact with them.
Okay.
Yeah, and some of the kids say, please, mister, I promise I won't tell anyone if you let me go. And you're like, fine.
He sounds honest.
This sounds funny. So you never have like premonitions or ideas that something's about to happen, or a bad feeling about something, or something in that area?
No, premonition, no. I've had, those feelings like, what I guess most people would call intuition, where it's like something's not right. Something's negative is happening somewhere in my life. I just don't know where it is. So I get those types of feelings, and sometimes I'm absolutely right, and then other times I've been wrong, and everything was just fine.
Jackie, aren't you pretty good at, not just feeling those, but being able to kind of single them down to a person or an event?
Yeah. It's an actual thought process.
Oh, see, I have no ability to filter it.
When I have a premonition or I feel like something is going to happen, I know exactly what's going to happen. I know exactly what it's going to be. And sometimes it's like random and like not possible, but then it happens. I'm like, oh, I guess I was right. I should have listened.
Should have listened to myself.
Yeah.
Okay. And so is this where you, because I've heard some of your discussions of, reoccurring lives. So past life experience or regression, I believe was used in the previous episode, if I recall correctly. Do you honestly believe that you maybe had this previous life, not just one, multiple that you experienced before? And I'm honestly not discounting it, because like part of what I think the universe could be is multiple realities. So,
well, that's the whole purpose of the egg thing. I think is that you do live a lot of previous lives, and you will live a lot of future lives. And the goal,
I guess that my
I know that's different.
What I think is that they're not connected. There's no interconnection between any of them, even if they are real. Okay.
So you don't, and alternate realities is something that you kind of grasp, or?
Yeah, infinite possibilities, really. Okay. It's, Boltzmann brain type mathematics are, so far nobody's disproven it, so it's technically, theoretically possible right now, but, we'll see where we get.
So if you believe in alternate reality, that means that they're all either happening within the same timeline, or they're a decision that you made that broken off into multiple decisions that broken off to other worlds, and it goes down the tree. Right. That's the same idea. Is you are still living multiple lives in different realities, and different decisions that you made have gotten to you to that one reality. If you want to look at it that way, I believe that they are all coexisting at the same time, and the one I am in currently is me existing and understanding that there are other lives that I've lived, and it helps me where I am now.
Honestly, that could be correct. It's not beyond the pale of reason to assume that these things are occurring, and not just occurring in like these weird outward places outside of us. It's actually interconnected. I guess the thing for me is I don't understand the reasoning behind assuming that.
See, here, Nick, I think I can help you here, because me and Nick, we've grown up together. We've been lifelong skeptics together since the ripe old age of 10?
Somewhere around, yeah.
Yeah. So, first of all, I think the timing had a lot to do with it. I know Jackie had this belief system before this whole, whatever you want to call this, the last month and a half. But she was explaining to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, Jackie, she was explaining to me that she believes something along the lines of, and this could be very wrong, but just rough explanation, that you live this life, and if you were generally good, you lived a good life, then when you're reborn, you pretty much gain like a positive trait or lose a character flaw, or vice versa.
But who, like, what power dictates that?
That's you.
It's yourself.
If you're not happy with the way you did something, then you punish yourself or reward yourself, kind of the deal.
Yeah, like a kid, like they grow up and they're learning these things.
So you think as you continue to have lives, you understand more and more that you are experiencing multiple lives, and as it goes on, you think, like, if I'm extrapolating here, so say who's like the Beyonce, she's gone through 1,000 lives, and that's why she is who she is. That's why she's made it to her.
No, I don't think Beyonce is a good example. I think.
Sorry, I was just trying to pick somebody.
Yes, yeah, no, not Mother Teresa. I don't know who that is.
All right, who has like the best life?
You're a Catholic who doesn't know who Mother Teresa is?
Oh, that person?
Oh, she is awful. Don't get me started.
I actually heard she was pretty bad, but
it was the worst.
So in the idea, yes, Beyonce being, or an idea of being the perfect or higher spiritual self, recognizing themselves and learning that they will become better and better as they grow, like a child would. The more they learn, the more they grow, the better they become sometimes. But sometimes people do get stuck and they continue living the same shitty life until they change something. And it was just and by the way, I only started thinking this maybe like 3 weeks or 4 weeks before I met Matt, but I was watching Midnight Gospel. And episode 5 was one of the things that stuck with me. And he was in a jail realm where he was visiting a soul that was so tortured that he cut his own tongue off, and there was this little bird that spoke for him. And every single time this jail person or the spirit, or it's a cartoon, he would try to escape this jail. But every time he'd get killed or he'd kill himself or something would happen. He would die, get reincarnated, relive, he'd get weighed out, and the little bird took a feather off of himself and weighed it against the spirit. And it kept happening and happening until the spirit that was stuck in this jail escaped. And at the end, the spirit was weighed out to the bird's last feather, and it was even, and then the spirit felt better and was a better human for it. Right. So that idea stuck. And I was like, okay, that kind of makes sense. Where
I think that's exactly what you were describing to me at the time.
Yeah, it's the same episode I'm describing right now is what I told you, Matt.
Right.
I may be misunderstanding, so what I don't understand, I think, is if it's cyclical, we're all living repeated lives and learning through each experience, or not learning, depending on whichever lifestyle you actually, or breakthrough you get to have in life. How is that sustainable, considering that we know that our universe is expanding? We know that we have finite time with our sun, and so are these multiple realities that we're all living through, and we all I guess what I'm asking is where does this stop being really far out sci-fi stuff, and where can you fundamentally say, okay, this is actually a realistic aspect of it? This is something.
I got an idea.
What's that?
Okay, now it comes down to the question: if you won the lottery, well, it's two questions. If you won the lottery, what would you do with it? But let's start with, if you could be immortal, you can kill yourself whenever you want in the future. You're not going to live forever, but let's just say, if you could live until you were ready to go, like millions of years, would you take something that would let you live until you were done?
I have questions.
If you could?
Well, no, not if immortality means that at some point, I get it, you can take your life at any point you want, but I would want immortality to mean I have the capability to also travel to different worlds and experience what.
Yep.
Okay. I just want to make sure I'm not going to be stuck on Earth as the sun
No.
Turns into. Okay.
You can do whatever you want, wherever you want.
I would absolutely do that.
Okay. So you're not part of what I call the downer group. The people who say, no, I want to be out of here at 60 to 80. And you say, why? And they go, because. What else? The only reason to get out of bed in the morning is because we know time is finite. And you say, no, the reason to get out of bed in the morning is because there is an endless fucking possibility of cool shit to do every day. There's new stuff you can learn every day.
But that's not true. There's eventually...
The universe is finite as far as we know it.
If the universe is expanding every day, there is an infinite number of new things to learn every day. And
Life in this universe should be finite, considering the eventual heat death of the universe, which is...
Well, yes, but... Okay, so now you're bringing in the sun, dying and all that kind of stuff. And every lifetime, there is the end of the world or the story of the end of the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right now, we're going into a solar flare something. It's where there's not going to be... Hold on, I'm going to research this. Where there's not going to be as many solar flares, which can also cause a new ice age or idea of ice age. But then at the same time, we're also talking about the Earth is heating up too fast because the sun is getting too hot, and we're not having we don't have a strong enough dome and all this stuff. All at the same time, all this information is coming. Pretty much, the world is going to end. It's going to end cold or it's going to end hot. I think those are ideas and stories, and how we feel right now is that there is going to be an end and there has to be an end. Why does there have to be an end?
I'm not...
what if our end is to move on to another world? Or what if,
sure.
There's so many other possibilities, so our end won't end here on Earth or whatever you want to call it.
But raise a possibility that's more scientifically proven than the expansion of the universe and the eventual heat death of it. Like, go show me the science that tells me the other possibilities are there. And I'm not like, we don't understand dark matter. There is the possibility that eventually our universe does stop expanding and we actually start contracting again. And what if all we are is a cyclical black hole that turns into a white hole, and these are just bouncing universes? Like, maybe that's what our multiverse is potentially.
It's
but
possible.
I just don't want to make it spiritual like that. I don't want to.
You don't have to.
I don't want to explain it by feelings, and I feel like a lot of people, as I say, I feel like.
It's called a solar minimum.
Well, thank you. I did not know that, and I would have guessed something completely different.
I know, right? A solar
Can you
minimum.
explain that more to me then? I think maybe I misunderstood.
Can I finish one quick point?
Sure.
Before or after, it doesn't matter when. I just wanted to say about the spirituality thing and like what happened with. So, I was like you, still kind of am, except for now I don't mind like delving into it, and I kind of believe in it a little bit sometimes. Sometimes I'm just talking out my ass or agreeing with people. But the first thing that really kind of opened my eyes was that while Jackie was telling me this is what she believed, right? That was when Angie sent me the story of the egg, like, via text. It was that moment, like, and I was just like, okay, well, that's just like 13 like things this week where the timing is just a little coincidental, and I understand everything is coincidental. It was just too much coincidence to be happening for like 4 days. So something's got to be going on. Maybe probably not. Anyway, it felt like a lot of coincidence. And then that was followed up by us meeting Danny the Witch, who also, it was just way too
Just
fun.
want to shout that I love that episode, and I thought she was great.
Danny is fucking amazing. I can't wait to do another episode with her. She is just a very interesting fucking person. And I would call that the second half of like why I am now okay talking about spiritualism, even though, you know, they used to say like, especially like my dad, you know, who's from like or most of my family from AA, where they're like, it's not a religious group, it's a spiritual group. I'm like, it's both, but it's also religious, and they both suck, right? Except now I'm like, they're still both whatever they are, but like I don't mind spirituality anymore so much. Like I get it. It's nice to believe that what you think is going to happen or is happening is actually going to happen or happen, you know? And there's nothing wrong with that. It's a good placebo effect to make you happier as a person in general. It's no different than just waking up and like answering the first like, how are you with, I'm doing fucking awesome, it's the best day of my life. Like, all it's doing is you good. You know what I mean? Anyway,
I think I don't call it spirituality. I call it your mental capabilities. You wake up and you smile and tell yourself you're gonna have a good day. Chances are you're gonna have a better day than you would if you woke up angry.
But that concept also goes with the 5D idolism or religion or whatever that's going on right now.
I'm not discounting that. I'm not saying that it isn't a plausible idea. I just don't, from my current understanding of it, I'm not sure I'm gathering why that is a succinct explanation for it. I think it kind of sounds like, to me, a little far-fetched. It just seems like you're naming something, a level of understanding that people just can achieve, but you're calling it a fancy name and trying to act like it's a level of wokeness that I think is just a...
You mean me personally? Because I'm not doing anything.
No.
I was just saying the concept in general.
Then I understand what you're saying, and I agree.
So I'm gonna go into sciencey things.
Sure.
And I found a dumbed down version of it. This is all on the NASA website, so I'll send you a link so you can put it on our website, Matt.
I will.
But
I'm still 100% anti astronomy, by the way.
Astrology.
That's fine. This is not astrology. This is science, because this is what Nick wants.
Good.
Okay. So the basic concept of what our modern climates are, what contributes to the climate that happens here on Earth. The first one is solar radiance. Second one is greenhouse gas. Third one, volcanoes. And the fourth one is ENSO, El Nino Southern Oculus, or no, I don't know how to say that word. So just look on the website. So what the idea is, right now, the sun is going into a solar minimum, meaning that the sun will not be creating solar flares during this dormant time. And without those solar flares that are happening, that's reaching our Earth and our outer atmosphere, it's going to cool down the Earth faster. So some of the ideas or some of the theories that are coming up, or that winter will be coming sooner, it will be colder than any other year, but then you also have the other extreme where it's going to be super hot during the summer. The water in the air will be irregulated. All this has to do just with the sun. Okay. But this idea started another theory that because the sun will be going in such a long dormant this time, because last time it caused ice age, or what we know as ice age, it caused that the first time. The second time is supposed to be longer and colder. So on one end, there are theorists that believe that the Earth is going to end in a fire, like a fireball, and the other theory is we're going to end up in another ice age. And both of these theories end up in death, right?
Yes.
So no matter how many years have passed and no matter how many ideas have passed, there's always going to be the end-all be-all. We're in the middle of an apocalypse. That's just a fascinating idea to people, and I don't know why we keep creating this, but
That's
that
been
idea,
a thing since people could speak to each other. Everybody's had their end of the world story.
Well, now we're
There's
in
not a
2020.
generation that hasn't heard it.
Exactly. And now we're like living an apocalypse right now with the solar minimum coming. We're COVID-19, all the revelations.
I want to read what you're reading because I have an argument against it. There is
okay. What's your argument?
Cyclical cycles of actual solar changes that do cause regular patterns of the world getting colder and then reheating again, colder and then reheating again. But there's also been extensive studies really starting 60 years ago, but even over the last decade, they've shown that our emissions here on Earth, our carbon emissions, are enough to actually upset that cycle. That's what we're doing. So we may not see what you're talking about right now, despite the solar minimum. We may have already done enough in our environment to stop that cooling down, that period that should have naturally occurred. I'm just trying to. I'm not refuting I'm looking for the initial one that I read on the NASA website, like the one that you'd probably appreciate more than the dumbed down version. But I mean, either way, the end point of that would be either whatever circumstance happens, we're looking at an apocalyptic end, right? Here on Earth. Is this? No, continue, please.
So I know you mentioned that was the idea that our soul doesn't continue growing and that kind of stuff. Is that what you were implying with the end of the world?
Can you repeat that? I don't.
So the reason we got onto this conversation was because we're going to continue living in other lives and growing and all this kind of stuff. And then you started mentioning the end of the world. And I don't remember what got you there.
Well, so no, you were like, because the way I understood it, the way you were speaking of it, it's a very cyclical pattern. And the way I understand things, as far as the way the world works and the universe works, is eventually it's unsustainable. So this cyclical pattern has to end at some point, right?
But that doesn't necessarily mean the end of the
unless you're
universe.
saying that every life is a different universe and we're experiencing an infinite pattern of
that's possible.
Like, so I guess I'm going to try and make an analogy here. Are you saying that this is like a pot of boiling water, and every single bubble that comes to the surface is a different universe, and we're all experiencing that little bubble, and then it snaps and it's a new one?
That's possible, yes.
It's a
Because
very
then that would also go with the theory that there are multi dimensions.
No, which is a theory I wouldn't ever argue against, because
If you want to think of it that way, then yes. I don't know what it is. I can't give you the answer like, hey, I'm all knowing and I know that I'm right.
I guess
But-
the difference that maybe you and I have in this, I'm not arguing against that. I am arguing that we don't experience them collectively. We don't get to, like, this is my one. I don't get to experience the infinite amount of other.
I think you might, though. I think
You can.
haven't got to the point yet where.
But why? Why do you think
you're
that?
off
I
on the
don't-
other ones.
Because sometimes I feel like I do.
I do too. Deja vu.
You know what? I've had dreams, guys, where I like died and woke up like I just took off a game headset or something.
That would have fucked me up. No. That's a no.
Like Roy and fucking Rick and Morty.
Dude, almost exactly like that. A little
Oh,
like more
shit,
disturbing or
dude.
perturbing to me, but
Oh no. Yeah, that could be possible. That could you be going into another world, living
me, I
that
would
world
want
as
that.
yourself.
I would love
Why?
that.
Because that means you like felt yourself die and then you woke up in the middle of your death.
But
Imagine
like,
living in-
you have an entire life experience and then wake up still having your life. That's incredible.
You live an entire lifetime every time you go to bed? That would be fucking nuts.
No, because I can only deal with some of my lives that I live in my dreams.
You say that
Sometimes-
now, but like, what if you just woke
No.
up and all of a sudden you're like, wow, none of it was real, but I can remember it all so vividly.
That's neat.
No, that'd be creepy as shit. Because sometimes I have really weird dreams that I'm feeling it. Like I physically feel it. I'm myself, but sometimes I'm young, and sometimes like I'm in a like one of my craziest dreams I've ever had was I was in a school normal day, and there was this person next to me, and I couldn't see their face, but I could feel their person, their essence, and it was a familiar feeling, and I couldn't find that feeling since that dream, but I knew that person so well that they're just like a part of me in that dream. And I lived that whole dream, and then I happened to die in my dream at that age, and I woke up feeling that age when I woke up.
Do you believe that was like a crossover experience?
I think so. Now I do.
That's great.
At that time, I didn't, but that feeling of that person that was next to me, I still feel.
So in
like, I know
retrospect,
how
you
that
believe it
person
more than
feels.
when it actually occurred.
What? I didn't
In
understand.
in retrospect, you believe it more than when it actually happened.
Yeah.
Like thinking back, and again, like we discussed earlier, you can have those moments where retrospectively you're like, oh, I missed all these things.
Yes, because at that time I wasn't quite in tune to myself. I was just living life just because I just experienced every day as they come. Now I experience the moment that I'm in, and then I think about it moments later as well as the moment that I just lived.
I think that's
It doesn't-
how
That's fair. That's actually relatable. I can totally relate to those types of feelings. I think.
Like
don't know,
I'm
but there's
becoming
also-
more aware of myself.
See, that's
See,
the
I
only-
don't. I guess I take it in a different way. I don't think I've become more aware. I think I almost extrapolate and then get more bizarre. I'm taking this too far, but yeah, bizarre is in like, okay, like how many neurons are in our brains?
So many.
God.
And now imagine if, like, what if we're just neurons in some larger organism?
I think about that all the
Yeah.
time. What if this whole universe
Why not?
fell in
No, and I love concepts like that. But again, we have no basis to
That-
rely on that kind of thought. It's just a feeling, right?
Yep.
But why can't a feeling be a fact? If
It can
multiple
be,
people
but
feel this way or a certain way, why can't it just be a fact?
you know,
Yeah,
and like I think
bears.
that there's a lot to be explored as far as the human mind goes. That there is, like, we all have consciousness itself is a phenomenon. Nobody can explain that. Nobody knows why we are who we are. Like why each person is an individual.
And then how could we only be the only ones? Like, why do we
I
have the
don't
right
believe
to
we are the only
say,
ones.
oh, I know that. Like, I know you don't because you like science and stuff. But for most people that don't think like us or think not like us, we're not an us, but think like people in our current position. they believe that they're the only ones to the right of a consciousness and those feelings, which doesn't make sense to me.
I would call that a lack of experience or education. I don't want to say it's because, unfortunately, education to me means that you have a broader interpretation of life. It's not just, book things. It's not just that you learn math. It's literally, you educate yourself by experiencing different things.
Well,
Get
how
out of
is
your
that
bubble.
not spiritualism right there, Nick?
Yeah.
What is spiritualism? What do you, like, how does that
That's
apply?
what you asked about originally, is like, how can we call this, like...
That isn't, no, that's a critical thinking is born of your experiences.
Correct.
But critical thinking cannot become you being spiritual.
No, absolutely. You can be spiritual and elevate your level of critical thinking. I'm not trying to say that they're counterintuitive by any means. I'm just saying that you can call them both the same thing, but
right.
I guess I don't understand what spiritualism really means, because to me it's not a deity or some spiritual like. I think it's our way of trying to say that we don't know how to say this consciousness that we all experience individually. We can't, like, in reality, there is no objective way of looking at things because we're all subjectively experiencing life.
The way the internet describes what spiritualism doesn't seem like a right definition.
It doesn't.
Like at all.
To define it well, because I've really only been looking into it since I've been speaking with Jackie and Danny, really. But yeah, I'll let Jackie handle this one.
I think if spiritualism just means enlightenment, that you're learning more, you're thinking in different ways, then absolutely fine, I'll be spiritual, but I just don't call it that.
Okay, that's fine. I don't think some of the words that are being used in the community of being spiritualism or coming to the 5D world, I don't agree with it. I don't like it. Just because all of that makes the whole idea, and it downgrades it. And I say downgrades it as in you're putting a negative word for most people onto an idea of people becoming enlightened in themselves. And then you slap those words on it and it makes it look dirty.
It does have a stigma behind it.
You know what? Yeah, that's actually I guess you're probably good with marketing, right? So you think, yeah, that's fair. And I think for a person like me who's very skeptical of most things, hearing that type of verbiage, I'm like, not for me.
No, I agree with you. Like the verbiage, don't like it at all. But the ideas and the things that I'm learning about myself, and the only way I know how to describe it to someone else might be in those words, but eventually I will find a better way to explain it.
Yep.
All right, Shostak, we haven't heard from you for a while.
So,
oh crap, I said your last name. Matt.
Essentially, all I'm saying is, as far as spirituality is a bad word for it, and it's only because the stigma that's come along with it, where it's like, it could. When I hear spirituality, I picture hippie chicks with crystals, casting incantations around their house.
It is attached to that type of imagery.
It is, but what I think of it is me just becoming a little bit more aware that I and we are more in tune with each other and the universe than we think. Like I said, Jackie and I meeting, I don't think that was an accident. I think we or somebody made that happen for a reason. I don't know what the reason is yet, and I don't even know that that's the case. I have a feeling that there's something else going on that is making things happen, or we somehow have the ability to assist in making things happen that could be beneficial to, I guess, us, the greater good, the greater us.
I agree with the latter half of that. Yes.
That's as far as I've come to understand it in the last month and a half. Now, I would love for you to talk to Danny about this, because she could explain it like a fucking rock star, I'm sure.
I think I'd love having a conversation with her. She seems like so just, I don't know, very present of mind and down to earth, but also like, she obviously has some very different ideas from myself. So I would love to.
She does. You know, it's funny. I don't know if it was the Catholic upbringing or if it was just the skeptic upbringing. I was not expecting to talk to like a human when we got on the phone with her. I was like, I don't know what I was expecting, but I was not expecting like anything more.
No, I was surprised because, but again, a stigmatized title, right?
Stigmatized. I wonder what else has
Unfairly,
been stigmatized for us that we've not given a shot just because of like what goes along with the.
Just because of a few nutcases ruined the rest of it.
Yeah, like remember being in 7th and 8th grade, we weren't allowed to listen to the Backstreet Boys or NSYNC. I want.
Well, those were social rules.
They're a little different, but you know what I mean.
Even though we all still sang those songs privately to ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah, like we all didn't have Britney Spears posters hanging up in our bathrooms. Come on. I mean, what?
Sorry, buddy. Didn't reach on that one.
Oh, I just gave away a secret.
All right. In fairness, though, there was a reason for that in my life. It's because when I was young, people used to tell me my sister looked like Britney Spears. So it was just kind of a thing where I'm like, gross.
Yeah. Hey, well, I had sex with my brother in my dreams, so I mean...
There is that.
There is that, too. See? It's all connected.
Fond memories.
Fond memories. Hey, everybody. Thanks for listening this far, and I didn't think you'd make it. We appreciate it very much. Just, if you could do us a favor and go find us anywhere and follow us, rate, subscribe.
We'll be under the tree meditating.
Yes.
Go find us.
I will have a rainbow coming out of my head.
I was
is that
hoping you
possible?
would say ass.
I will have a rainbow coming out of my ass.
Like a unicorn.
Yeah, like, wait, what? Well, we're at Twitter, Magic for Humans, TikTok, Spotify, YouTube. The link is through the website on that one, which is magicforhumans.com as well. Oh, we have a second Instagram, which is Magic for Humans, the number 4, and then with an S.
Like, comment on all our pictures, videos, and download, and give us stars on the iTunes, please. The iTunes.
Yes, especially the iTunes. But anywhere you get your podcasts or podcarts, rate, subscribe, and comment, please. We will read the positive comments on air.
Ooh, that's nice.
We'll read the negative ones too, because it'll be fun. Don't leave negative ones though.
If anyone leaves us a 1-star rating, I will go and murder you in your sleep, in your dreams, and then you'll wake up and be murdered again every time you go to bed.
You'll be living the same day over and over. It's like,
but you're not sure if you're awake or asleep.
It's deja vu. And please feel free to go to the website and send in any art. Music is great. Drawings are great.
And
jokes are great.
That you find that inspire you from our podcast, we will gladly look at it, post it, or even promote you as well. So thank you very much for any artwork that's sent in.
Yes, thank you very much. Go to the website, check out our gallery there where we're going to have, featured artists and featured selected art. Also on the website, we do have Venmo and PayPal if you want to support us to get this, I guess, project off the ground.
Way. Yes.
It really does. Our editor isn't cheap and I talk a lot. Help. Back to the show.
What I was going to say was, have you looked at how Americans give y'all history?
Yes.
As soon as I moved to Texas, I had a whole class about Texas history.
Yeah.
And the way y'all explain roles in the war and things that happen in war are very biased to the Americans.
No.
Like, that is why that people made Beethoven white.
Yeah.
And no one knew. Sorry.
Really a pretty cool show they just did on Hulu where they did like the real stories of what happened during these great stories during history. They did like a whole hour on like Johnny Appleseed about how he wasn't, really just walking around planting trees. He was walking around planting trees so that he could like then harvest the apples and make like this liquor that he was selling across the country. It's called apple something or other. And,
it's called capitalism, asshole.
I would say that was a genius. He was the first entrepreneur out there.
Yep. He
And
also
look what he did to it.
He also wore 2 hats, a real hat and a tin, like a pot. And he would walk around and had balloons to little girls.
Oh, that's kind of creepy.
It was a weird.
That is totally creepy.
And that idea of him, I don't like it.
No. Nobody does.
So what you're saying is Joppy. Never mind. I'm gonna quit there.
Yeah, you should. I'm gonna go ahead and quit while I'm ahead. You're not that far ahead.
Pedophile.
Oh, man. Oh, who did I just found? Somebody just went to prison for that.
What?
Someone just went to
What?
prison for that. It was someone famous.
For
Oh,
what?
Hyde from That 70s Show, but I don't think it was for
No.
pedophilia. I thought it was just for like.
Oh, that lady, John Epstein's right hand.
Oh, Ghislaine Maxine.
She got arrested finally, and she got put in a paper bag because she's on suicide watch.
It's sad that she's gonna die of suicide next week with 2 bullets in the back of her head.
Right? Who would have known?
Yeah.
I don't know how she did it. She just tied the paper around her. She suffocated herself with paper towels.
I'm not one for conspiracy theories, but the Epstein death seems like wildly too.
Dude, Grayson called it a week before it happened. Both him and I called it. We're like, because I know a lot about that industry or like what
That
goes on back.
Disgusting part of our planet that happens.
Yes, and it's something that my grandmother and my mother had firsthand experience with, and they've taught me since I was little, like what you do if any of that or anything that seems like you could be in that situation happens. And
May I ask what their experiences were?
So my grandmother, she grew up poor after the age of 5, meaning that her mother and her brother went home to home or stayed with family as much as they could because her father took all the money that they had for some reason, and he ended up growing a pretty big empire in Colombia. And
So I'm guessing
Legitimate empire or
and
legitimate, yes.
oh,
Transportation. But she was growing up on the streets a lot, and there was this doctor who she fell in love with. Mind, she was 13 and he was 30.
gross.
Yeah. And one day she was going to pick up a new pair of shoes because he was teaching her how to become a nurse. So she had a job to feed her family and her mom. And there was this lady that came up to her, and from what she told me was this lady looked beautiful. She had money. But these 2 girls came up to her around her age, took her, and brought her somewhere. And she got stuck in that for a couple weeks until she ran away. And the way she explained it was she was raped, mutilated, and everything that you could think of horribly done to her. Whoa. Until she escaped. And the first person she went to was this doctor. And he helped her, and he like pretended
He
to
was
be
the good guy.
Wait, he pretended to be really good, and he helped her out of it in a way. But when she had, like, he coerced her to be in a relationship with him, but he was about to get married, and it was just this story. And at the end, when he went to get married, he got arrested for woman trafficking. And she found out that he was the doctor that got her and did that to her initially. Like, he was the reason why she got caught up in that.
And so he was the guy that saved her from the thing that he caused.
Yes.
Kind of.
Except no, he intentionally manipulated the situation to end that way.
Yeah. You know what? Fuck guys. They're all terrible.
I was going to say, so the moral of the story is men are scumbags.
Yep.
Yes. Pretty much.
Any of them.
But that's how, like, my grandmother since then was very careful in telling both my mom and I, like, what could happen to you. But my mom being stupid, always. Not always, but at the time she was young. My grandmother was strict. She ran away. She went to Colombia to go marry some guy that she met. And she got caught up in the same thing. Luckily, she was saved. My dad did save her. but she was like so close to being sold off. But they didn't know who she was. And after that, my grandmother obviously didn't go the straight way. She became a very well-known person in Colombia, and it was just this whole thing. But I'm always very careful. Like, I'm scared to go outside in the dark to my car. Like, I don't go grocery shopping after it's dark, not unless I'm with Grayson. Like,
so you think that there's actually like your family might have people wanting to hurt you guys?
oh, when I was little, yeah, definitely.
Okay, not now though.
Not now, but now we have to deal with human trafficking, like what that lady did to all those women. Like, it happens even here in Frisco, Plano, Texas.
Which I think is like one of the worst possible things. It like I don't even know how to explain like my level of despising those types of people.
Like, you're not just destroying, like, it's not just hurting a child, you're destroying their lives. And it's, I don't know,
yeah.
The impact that has on children is crazy.
Well, it doesn't only just happen for women. It happens to men too, but none of them are willing to talk about it. And I wish...
Well, it's our shitty society and how we, try and make it where men aren't supposed to cry and women are supposed to, like,
I'm not supposed to
we have
cry.
so many shitty types of...
Matt, you cry every day.
Every day. Like
He actually might.
No, I do cry every day, seriously.
No, he does.
It's not always like an emotional cry though. It's just like if a guitar solo comes on, it doesn't matter what guitar solo, any guitar solo, my eyes will just start pouring water. So it's
maybe like a soul release. You're releasing what your soul is holding on to.
I think that's probably the most accurate way to describe it. Yeah.
I'm more likely to cry if I'm happy than sad.
Dude, tell me, I think we're both crying at the Sleep Token concert.
No, that was really, I don't know, just a very, very nice moment.
It's a very, very beautiful, tearful moment. That fucking show.
Is Jackie looking up Sleep Token now?
Oh
No, I actually got a work call.
Oh, no.
This guy lives in Australia, and apparently it's a day ahead, and it was 11:30 a.m. when he called.
They're minus 6 hours plus a day.
Yeah, so we were trying to figure out scheduling.
What's 9 in Texas?
Yeah, it's 9 over here. What time is it over there?
7 or 1900.
Japan.
1900.
My work. We use a 24-hour calendar for my.
Sorry, that just
work,
sounds so
so it's-
pretentious. It's
Oh, it does.
1900.
I didn't mean it that way.
1900.
I know you didn't, but I had to. Like,
That's
it
fair.
bothered me under my skin.
Absolutely fair game.
You two get along famously. I love it.
What'd you say, Matt?
I said you two get along famously. I fucking love it.
Famously.
Yeah. When are you gonna butt out of the show?
Bye.
Just kidding. I could never hold up the way you do.
Thanks.
What does that mean?
Like, he's got the personality to do this continuously. I think you probably talked to me long enough to understand that I wouldn't be the best co-host on a podcast.
I think Nick would
Why
make
not?
a great podcast host or co-host. I feel like there would be weeks though where
I would
Nick
need somebody else
just
to be
like,
more entertaining than myself.
Not today.
No, I think he would be good on a solo podcast where he had people come and challenge his thoughts and ideas.
Dude, if him and Peter had a podcast,
Oh, that's a good idea.
dude,
I don't know
man.
Peter. I don't know a Peter.
Very close friend of ours.
yes, and the two of them will sit there and argue nothing for an hour and a half, and they will both not even agree with the points they're making. They will just they love to
They just
argue
enjoy
with
to
each
argue.
other. They will both take the wrong point and just argue it just to argue with each other.
But
They'll
that's
sit
part
there
of
and
what,
argue like chunky versus smooth peanut butter for like 2.5 hours.
and then we'll both prove each other's point.
And then you'll both go inside and eat a chunky peanut butter sandwich.
But like you said, we're arguing just for the sake of arguing. We enjoy that. It's like a competition, though.
Yeah, it's actually real annoying in person. But
I know, but screw you guys.
Oh no. I think that if we could record that ever, I think that would sell. I mean, sell.
I don't know if I want those arguments going public.
You you guys do call each other a lot of terrible things.
I want to have
Well,
a
yeah.
game night with all of y'all. That'd be hilarious and fun.
Oh, that'd be great.
Absolutely.
I love games.
Let's do D&D.
Dude,
That's gonna take too long.
no, we
No,
I
just
don't
you're
have the
right.
attention span for that.
I've never played it before. I just I like the idea of it.
That lasts weeks. Like it could last forever.
All right, so the next podcast is D&D.
No.
we gotta play the game that we played last night. So for my dad's birthday, we played this new game we picked up at Target. It's called like the Trolley Experience or something, right? It's by the. It's kind of like.
I already know where
You
this
ever read
is
Suicide and Happiness? Like an online comic strip. So it's like that and Cards Against Humanity. What happens is there's like teams of whatever. You get cards. There's cards of people. There's good people, like like Girl Scouts that are raising money for blind children. And then
Sounds boring already.
there's bad cards where you have like I don't know, like a neo-Nazi who's about to take a 700th victim, right? And what you do,
I thought we weren't playing D&D.
you line them up
That's what I'm saying.
along a trolley. One person is driving the trolley, and they have to choose which track to go down. And
Showstack, you know that's a
all
game
the-
based off of a philosophical principle called the trolley problem, right?
Yeah, that's what it is. I know. Yeah, I'm very familiar with that. That's what it is.
Why did you explain it like that?
Because I didn't know if you guys knew the trolley principle or not. Because it.
Have you heard our
'Cause we're
conversation?
uneducated assholes.
What?
What? Oh.
I think you're in safe
It happened
company.
when I got up like for 5 minutes today.
So this game sounds boring. I don't have the attention span for it. I need a child like
Ooh,
15 to 18-year-old like
Escape room.
I got
yeah,
the
that would work.
Uno.
Oh, it's so much fun.
Dose.
Una, I could play. But seriously, my attention span would not stand the lifetime of that. Like Christmas, I was playing with Grayson's parents and his sister, and they had this very long game similar to what you described.
The game
It
is
was very long.
just be like, I put down
And-
the Dalai Lama with the swastika tattoo, and you're like, I put down a dog who's about to kill a baby, and then you're like, all right, I choose to kill blank, and that's it. But anyway, continue.
Well, okay, no, it's not like that. It's like building worlds or something like that. It was so fucking long. And I ended up getting so frustrated, I threw a piece at his sister, and then I like gave up. Like after 15 minutes, I couldn't.
I'll bet it was Settlers of Catan. I fucking hate that game.
It was something similar to that one. I don't like that one.
I can't play games longer than an hour. Like, no to Monopoly, no to Risk, no to
Yeah, no.
all that shit.
I like Phase 10. That's
Oh.
my favorite game,
I
actually.
like any card game, like any of the Rummies, Gin Rummies, Michigan.
I don't know why I thought you wouldn't.
Huh?
I don't know why I didn't think like I thought that you wouldn't like those types of games.
Well, with this many decks of cards, it's hard to like.
If Showstack can count cards, he likes it.
Ooh, by the way, I got 9 more decks of cards today. Oh,
Yeah, you told me earlier.
I'm not talking to Nick, and I only told
Oh,
you.
well then, you told me about the fairy card, and then you showed me another card. But you know, I'm not a part of this conversation. You like Nick more.
I'm
Jealous.
That is
jealous.
not true. He's ignored me for months because you guys found
I'm
each other.
kidding. I was
I'm feeling
completely
neglected,
kidding.
honestly. We're going to have to fight, Jackie.
Oh my god, I got a sword
I'm
and
just kidding.
everything.
You would win so fast. I wouldn't even, I wouldn't try.
I was excited for a second.
Nick
Oh,
is
you want
built
me to
like a
try?
very small
You'll still
woman.
beat me.
Yeah, let's do it. Sword fight. Choo choo.
I'm going to have to
Choo-choo.
borrow somebody's sword.
Do you think trains make the sounds of swords, or vice versa?
Yeah, the swords make a choo choo sound.
Let me ask my father. He's a locomotive engineer.
Do his trains go clank clank?
Yeah, that's the sound he tells me. Because I was working yesterday and it went clank, clank, kashoo, kashoo, kashoo.
Yeah, it goes kusha 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 kusha.
I can't do it right. He does it perfect.
Oh gosh.
So, in all seriousness, I do have like a very boiled down like a card game, like Cards Against Humanity version of.
Kusha 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 kusha. That's That's all I can think about right now. I'm sorry. I can't listen to you, Matt.
That's all right. I'll save it for next. I'm just gonna suggest maybe we play like a fun hypothetical game next time, like a would you rather versus like
Oh, I'm down.
we could do like some sort of spiritual, not spiritual, religious would you rather. Like, would you rather kill Joseph Smith or?
Oh, I don't know. No, you can't do the names because I don't know any of the names. I didn't know who Teresa was. Mother Teresa was. So
It was the old lady that always wore the blue and white head thing that gave.
oh, I recognize the idol, but I didn't believe in idols, so I never learned the names.
You know, they gave her sainthood, and in order to become a saint in the Catholic Church now, you have to have performed at least 2 miracles in your lifetime. So what?
I performed 2.
Define a miracle.
Yeah,
Birth?
1, 2.
I met Matt.
Hey, thanks.
All right, you win. I will not
I
argue
love
against
that definition. You met me. You willed me into existence, I think.
Nick, what are your 2 miracles of your life? Your wife better be one of them.
I don't have any miracles.
That means Kathy's not sitting right there.
Oh.
No, she's definitely not. She's not here. But no, Kathy is a, I guess, if you want to say
Hell
miracle, but all right. I met her because I stepped in her way at a bar. So it's not necessarily a miracle
Oh,
that I
y'all had a
decided to.
meet cute. That's so cute.
At a country bar. Nick doesn't listen to country music.
That's so cute.
What were you doing at that bar, by the way? Trying to get laid.
Fabulous.
No, actually, Chris took me to that bar.
No way.
Because he was hanging out with these 2 young ladies that were fun to hang out with.
Were you gonna say?
He's literally here and telling me a different narrative, but I'm not going to tell you that one.
We're gonna need a publicist coming up here soon.
Okay, I'm gonna sound stupid. What's a publicist?
Someone who makes sure that any news stories about us that
it's your PR person.
Yeah, get edited first before they actually make it to publication.
Yeah, but I think we're a good edit on each other. I tell you what you shouldn't say, Matt.
No, I know. What if tonight I go out like celebrating our fantastic show and I get drunk and I crash into like the light rail or like Phoenix's train?
Why the fuck would you be driving?
Going to cover that story up before morning. If we don't,
why would you be driving?
I won't.
One.
Trust me. I'm just saying. There's an example.
Or you can have an inner monologue in your head telling you, "I'm gonna look like a fucking idiot if I do this."
What if I go get drunk and try to like have a dick measuring contest with the giraffes at the Phoenix Zoo tonight? Okay.
I'll pay you to do it.
I'll videotape it.
Got my new camera, you guys. We got. I got like $400,000 in American flyer miles.
I just watched a movie of this lady who got humped by a dolphin and the dolphin dick hit her in the face. It was pretty funny. That's what that reminded me of. Your giraffe dick reminded me of a dolphin dick. They kind of look like unicorn heads or the top of a unicorn, but connected to
I just remember how this podcast started and where we've landed now.
Never.
It looks painful, actually.
I mean, even if it's not painful, it can't be a great experience. Nobody's bragging that they got hit in the face with a dolphin dick.
Oh boy,
but the dolphin dick, it looked like a spear, like a unicorn head thing, and it looks spiky in a way.
Like it's rigid? Like it's got the ridges?
That's what it looks like.
It's like a tiered.
I'm gonna look this up now.
Dude,
like a ziggurat penis.
What's a ziggurat?
It's like a terraced pyramid.
Yes.
Yes, I mean maybe not the most apt description, but I'm just trying to get the ridges thing in there.
Yeah, once it goes in, it gets harder, and then it's hooked in, and it can't come out until it's done its job. It's like
it looks like a.
No, it's a cat penis.
Oh yeah,
the penis barbs.
It looks like a hook of a prism, and it thins out at the end.
Oh wait, so it tapers.
What's this podcast called?
So
What?
it tapers
It
inward?
tapers off. Yeah, just look up a dolphin penis.
I don't know that I want to see it anymore.
I don't know how many more
Okay,
I want to be on a
the
Google.
unicorn part, like, imagine a unicorn, it has this cone on its head, right? Imagine that cone flipped upside down and curved like a hook.
Oh shit, that makes sense.
That sounds horrifying.
God. Hey, so wait a minute. If you had, all right, so unicorn is a horse with a horn, right? What if you had a pony with a horn? Would that still be a unicorn?
It'd be a baby unicorn. Duh.
What? Okay.
Yeah, you idiot.
Just checking. You guys are killing me.
Thank you, Nick, for joining our podcast and listening to
course.
our rambles.
Oh wait,
I had a ton of fun.
is there anywhere anybody could find you that you would like people to find you? Are you working on any cool projects, or are you working on anything at all that you would like people to come support you in the process of?
Am
You
I
have a
working on
Twitch
things?
channel.
Yes. Do
You
I
have a
want
YouTube
the
channel.
attention? No.
Got it.
Why don't you want the attention?
I'm a pretty private person. I enjoy discussing these things with you guys, but overall, I'd rather
Yeah.
not.
Okay, I understand. No, I get it. I don't know why I asked that question. It was unnecessary. Honestly, I could have a full-on conversation with myself by someone saying one word.
Would you answer if wait?
Pontificate. Go. Starting now.
I don't even know
Yeah,
what
you
that
got
word
59
means.
minutes.
I want to
I
know
knew it
how come
meant.
I use shower gel in the shower to clean either my body or hair. That no
Don't
matter
rage it
what,
too much.
as soon as I'm done with it, like there are just like blue streaks of this gel running down one of the shower walls, right? And then what'll happen is I'll grab the washcloth or loofah, and I will take it with water and then wipe down the blue streak, and then I'll look up, there'll be no blue streaks, and I'll be like, great, and then I'll look and I'll see another blue streak in another area, and I'll be like, that's weird, and I'll wipe that one down, and I'll be like, good, and then I'll look and there'll be another blue streak somewhere else, and I'll be like, what the fuck is happening?
So my question is, how do you take a shower like this, and do you reuse that loofah for your body?
No, that is the shower alone loofah.
No, but do you reuse it on your body after it touched the wall?
No.
Do you throw this loofah away?
I don't throw it away. It's a wall forever loofah. Or
That's nasty.
I throw it away eventually, like every.
No, but you know how much bacteria and mold has grown onto a wet cloth-like material that has been sitting there
How often do you change your kitchen sponge?
every week?
Yeah, that's about right. No, it's not. Okay. It's
I
about-
know you're lying. And if we don't replace our
As
sponge,
soon as I said it, I was like, no.
we cook it in the microwave so the bacteria stops growing. Or I don't know how it works, but I cook it in water, boil all that bacteria shit off, and then reuse it. But
I knew it. I knew that. So, Nick, thank you very much for joining. Apparently, is what I'm supposed to say as a human being.
I had fun. Thank you guys for tolerating my presence.
me too. Thank you.
I love you all, and I will talk to you soon.